right. Hello, everyone. We are back. Super excited to be back. We're just going to take a second here to share this out. Um, and we are going to be talking to you today about some of our upcoming plans. We're super excited. And so before we get that, I think there was one other. We just want to get into our group here to share out, and then we will get started. So we're super excited. To be here. If you don't know us, I know this is going on my page, but I am Dr. Natalie Phillips, and this is Regeanie or Reg Corona.
Hey
And
everyone.
we released a book in 2020. So we were just kind of talking about it really quickly. And we thought, oh my goodness, I can't believe that it's been released in 20 or published in 2020. And Reg and I just got together last year, at the end of last year, and got to see each other. Reg lives out in California. I am here in Colorado, and kind of got reconnected on some of the ideas that we had talked about and we're so excited about. And we decided to start meeting up again and as accountability partners, and figured out that we have so much more that we want to do. So we got some things done and wanted to share that with you. So I'm going to put something up here that if you guys have not been following us or haven't seen, down below here, we're just going to have a little ticker. But we now not only have a book, but we have a workbook and we have merchandise.
Yeah.
And next week, Reg is going to be coming over here. We're going to talk about that a little bit later in our upcoming plans. But before we get there, just to kind of review and talk about what we've been doing since 2020, we thought it'd be kind of nice, since we're popping back on here, to share one big thing that we have accomplished since our book was published in 2020. So back in 2020, when the book was published, you can kind of see our new cover up on the bar up there. But man, it's been, I was going to say 3 years, but actually it's 2025. So
It's 2025. It's been almost 5 years now since the
yeah.
book
Well,
was
okay,
originally
technically not
released.
though, because I think we published like in October of 2020 and it's the beginning of
Mhm.
2025. So I
True,
think we can
true.
say maybe 4-ish
4 years,
years.
a little over 4 years.
Yeah, let's say 4-ish years. Okay.
Yeah.
So, since 2020, I'm gonna let Reg go first and kind of share what she's been up to and maybe one big thing that you're proud of that you have accomplished since 2020. And if you can relate back to, so those of you who don't know our book, it's called Act Now, a simple
Mhm.
guide to take action on your greatest goals and dreams. And so with lots of these different chapters, yes, with lots of these
With the
different
previous
chapters
previous.
and a new, yes, and a new cover, there's a lot of things that we've learned together, but I think that
Mhm.
we've really been able to implement in our lives. And so as we share our one big thing that we've accomplished since 2020, maybe share how it relates to something that you've learned in taking action.
Oh yeah, totally. Well, hi everyone. It's really been quite a while, and so this is super exciting. And I just wanted to back up just a moment. Natalie and I wrote this book together. We were super excited about it, and it happened during the pandemic. And we sort of had these plans to go out and do like a book
Mhm.
launch and book tours, and all of that was put on hold, and things went totally different than what we expected. And I think the first thing that I want to say is a lot of times we'll have plans for something and the unexpected happens, and we have a choice. We can either get stuck in the unexpected or we can move in the unexpected and figure out how to leverage that. So we figured out how to move and leverage the unexpected. And then we sort of went through, we did some consulting sessions, we did some training sessions,
Mhm.
super fun doing that. And then we took a bit of a hiatus. Then I think with everyone else coming back from the pandemic, trying to figure that all out. During the pandemic, my husband asked me if I was interested in going back and getting my degree. And a little backstory on that is I uh, I I came from an IT career, and I grew up in the IT field, literally hands-on, and so I didn't go to school and get a degree before I started working in the field. And I built a successful career, and then, eventually left that career and moved into, nonprofit world and social entrepreneurship, but I still had never gone back to get my degree, and I had actually started, and this is my bachelor's. I had started a
Mm.
program over 20 years ago, hadn't finished it, but I was this close to finishing. And my husband said, "Aren't you interested in just going back and getting your degree? And now that we're in the pandemic, you're at home." So I thought, maybe. I had to go and petition the university, get approval to go back to finish under this 20-plus-year-old program, but I did, and so I finished my bachelor's, and before I finished up the bachelor's, which was just a few units in a few months, I enrolled in a master's program and immediately started my master's as soon as the bachelor's was completed, and I fast-tracked the master's. It's a master's in business administration, and I fast-tracked it to 15 months. So that was the shortest time that I could get it. So the biggest thing that I have accomplished since we've been together, I mean, there are a lot of things that I've accomplished and been able to do, but getting 2 degrees, a Bachelor of Science in Information Systems and a master's in business administration. That was super huge. And I'm now contemplating getting a doctorate. But the thing is, I looked back at our book and I took our framework, which ACT stands for assess, commit, and transform. And I assessed where I was at the time and what made the most sense for where I wanted to go, for my goals. And it made sense to go and get my degrees. It was something, it was a bucket list thing I wanted to check off. But I thought, with all the work that I do in training around entrepreneurship and helping others in business, having an MBA would be great. Um, so I sat down with our framework, I assessed where I was, and then I made the commitment. And I committed to get especially the master's done in less than 2 years. And it was a lot of sacrifice, it was a lot of discipline, but I got it done. And that's mine.
I love it. I'm so proud of you, first of all, too. That is
Oh,
incredible. And I think that, like even though we weren't out, like you said, I love that you kind of went back a little bit to kind of share. We did have plans, and then the pandemic hit. And
yeah.
so we had to pivot and we had to do some things, but we still got things done and we still took action on different things. It might have been different things, but we still took action, right? And I think one of the biggest reasons why we wrote the book was because um, Reg and I both had things that we were working on and they were
Mhm.
moving along, but it wasn't until we actually started meeting weekly and setting goals for ourselves and then accomplishing them because we knew like next week we're going to see each other or talk to each other. Like we had to get it done or else we're going to have to explain why we didn't get it done and have to push it back even further. And so there are times where I think that you have the best laid plans out and things that you want to get done, and sometimes things happen. With everybody that went through COVID, a lot of plans may have changed, right? And so I love that it was such a big accomplishment for you and you did it so quickly, and it was something that probably was somewhere that you wanted to get done, and this was the perfect timing. And
Mhm.
again, learning this framework and using what we've learned and written about in the book really helps out kind of how you look at taking action, right? And that
Yep.
you're not scared of it anymore, but now you just buckle down and this is what we need to do and this is what I need to do
Mhm.
because I need to get something done. So,
Yep. Yeah,
mhm,
and I think that was the whole goal of writing the book, was to help it, those were the things that we went through.
mhm,
And so to help others that may have been where we have been at some point or time, move past that and not get stuck in those things so that they can go out and accomplish their goals and their dreams. Not
mhm,
just the little ones, but
mhm.
the big goals and dreams, those big things that you feel and hear, and you know you want to do them. You actually know that
Mhm.
you are purposed to do them, and they nag at you constantly because you are purposed to do
Mhm.
them. But all those other things get in the way as we're lifing, right? There's life, but then on top of that, there's the fear, the doubt, the imposter syndrome, the procrastination, and all those things that get in the way and really cause us to stop on those
Yeah.
big goals and dreams.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. As we're preparing for some of our plans, and we'll kind of share that with you, I was looking through our book, and at the end of the book, it has our bios and where you can contact us. Well, this leads up to my one big thing that I want to share because I was reading my bio in the book when we published it, and right now it is not the same. It is not the same. I do not work there anymore. I do not have that website that is listed there. So if you have our version one of our book, it is so different. And so the one big thing that I want
Yeah.
to share that I've accomplished since our book was published is I started our own practice, our own private practice. And so I was working for about 12 or 13 years, I believe, with another physician, and it was his practice. And man, in 2021, um, I would say in August or September of
Mhm.
2021, it just didn't work out that I was going to be able to stay there. And so my colleague and I started our own audiology practice, like from scratch. And when I say from scratch, I mean, there were times where we had rented out the building and there was carpet in there, and we brought in a folding table and our computers, and we were borrowing internet from upstairs with from our landlords and trying to put pieces together. And there were times where we literally sat on our computers ordering things and getting things ready so that we could set up our practice. And it was literally she and I in carpets with one table, two folding chairs, and literally started it from scratch. So
Wow.
now we have been open since about November of 2021. So it took us a few months to get there. And man, so we're looking at 2025. We're going into our fourth year of practice. So we've made it through 3 years. We celebrated our 3-year anniversary. But yeah, like since we wrote the book, so many things have changed. But again, when I look at the chapters in our book, like just kind of relating it back to some of the things that I've learned when Reg and I spent time writing this book, these are the things that I had written down here. Fear, I had fear. Epiphanies, right?
Mhm.
I had so many aha moments of oh my gosh, like I can do this, but also
Mhm.
like exactly what Red described that there was something in me that I knew that I was going to be able to open this practice and it just clicked. It just clicked and off I went. And so I went through epiphanies. Change is another chapter in our book. And
Oh, yeah.
boy, was that a huge change in everything finances, family, what I had to focus on. I had to say no a lot to things in
Mhm.
order for me to say yes to focus on one thing, right? And so change was something that I worked with commitment. And so again, I
Mhm.
didn't do this by myself. So it's a commitment to a partner and commitment to making sure that this takes off. And so I had gone through commitment which includes discipline, right? There has to be a
Mhm.
strategy. There has to be what are you looking at in the future and how can we get this done and what are all the different options? And then once we choose that, to stay disciplined enough to get certain things done. Otherwise, you're the only ones that you can lean on. And if you're not going to be able
Yeah.
to get something done, it's not going to get done. So it takes us back to action and what I learned about discipline. What else did I write down? Goal setting. So
Yeah.
I had to set goals, right, in order for this business to take off. And boundaries. Boundaries was another one. And so as we
Mhm.
started opening up our private practice, boundaries was a huge thing. Again, looking at everything in my life, boundaries that between my family and I, right? Boundaries between my
Mhm.
partner and I going into this. Boundaries between now we hired our own staff and, we have to
Mhm.
reset boundaries and set up different protocols and procedures. And so again, everything that I've learned between Reg and I and our conversations and our accountability and then what we put down in writing, like that all came flooding back. And so I'm so thankful that we were able to publish a book about taking action because it
Mhm.
allowed me to kind of work through things and already have the confidence to know that, hey, I got this. Like, I've got this. If I don't, I can ask for help. And we're going to get this done. And like literally stick a stake in the ground and say, I got to get this done. This is what we're going to do. I made that decision and let's move ahead. So, again, we're excited because of what we can reflect on and what we've
Mhm.
learned. And we thought we've learned up to this point because this is where we wrote the book. But then the next 3 or 4 years happened, and we've both learned and have raised the bar a little bit higher in taking action. And so when we had got to spend some time together at the end of last year, we just kind of sat and talked about some different things and said that we wanted to kind of focus on this again. And when we did, then we figured out some fun things that we have planned for 2025. But before we get there, I wanted to kind of shift and also talk about vision boards. So, knowing
Mhm.
that this is January, so now what we've done with the recap, we're kind of heading into a new year. We're looking at different things, setting goals. I think many of you might have done a vision board, set New Year's resolutions, picked a word of the year, whatever it is. Reg and I also talked and said that this is something that we want to revisit, but we expanded it. So we spent some time um, doing vision boards. Both of us, it was actually
Mhm.
Reg's idea. I think she had the idea that I was ready to do my own vision board and I was going to hunker down and do all that. And Reg says, "Hey, I'm going to do this with my family. And this is what we're planning." And I quickly jumped in. And this is why it's good to have such a smart and brilliant accountability partner, because when they have an idea, you're like, hey, that's a really good idea. So when she shared that she was going to be doing this with her whole family, I quickly jumped in and said, I can probably do this. And I think I want to do this. My son is home from college, my daughter's on break. And I think let's do this. And so we both did vision boards with their families. And
Mhm.
I want to kind of allow Reg to kind of share her experience and why she decided to do a vision board session with her family and maybe some of the fun outcomes or something that you've learned throughout that process.
Yeah, it's really funny because I don't normally do vision boards. I visualize what I want in the year. I do document my goals so that I can track them. But the previous year, actually, some things happened at the end of the year, and I've got totally thrown off. And I didn't do my whole planning and goal setting, and I just felt off for most of the year because I felt like I wasn't really focused and targeting specific things. So going into this year, I said, I definitely want to do a vision board this time around. I've never really officially done a vision board. I did kind of on my phone and did some pictures and would look at it frequently, but this was the first time that I actually sat down and pulled together everything to work on a vision board. And my family went kicking and screaming, and actually my son is still trying to finish his. Um, but it was such a great time to sit down, and the word that I attached to that is intentionality. So we became very intentional about what we want to do in 2025. And we recognize that some things, we're going to work towards those things, but some things we may have to pivot on. We get partway through the year, see something drastically needs to change. We're flexible enough to do that, but this is our guide for the year. And it was very intentional. It was very inspiring. Honestly, my husband didn't want to do it initially, but then when he started, he got into it and started laying out all of the things that were important to him. And he's a big golfer, and so golf is a big thing that he wants to work on his swing in the new year and work on his all the things that I can't tell you, but he wants to work on them. So, setting that intention through vision boarding, is important. And then what I realized was, because we shared it together as a family, now we get to help hold each other accountable to that. So I can ask my daughter, we just took her on Friday to move into the dorm, and she's in a film program, and that was something she really, really wanted. And there's a backstory with that I'll tell at another time. But she thought she was going to go somewhere else, and we ended up deferring that, and she went to a different university, but she got the major that she wanted. So we're super excited about that. And now she has this vision board about the things
Mm.
that she wants to accomplish in the year. And I get to ask her, so how's it going? And how's this particular thing going, or that particular thing? So super fun.
Yeah, I love that. I'm going to share, hopefully you guys can see this, our Instagram. If you don't follow us on Instagram, it's Act Now Guide. But I wanted to kind of share some of the photos. I was looking for some of the photos, and let me see if I can kind of get through here, just of our families. And so this is my daughter working on her vision board. And as I kind of cycle through here, our family. So that's my husband, my son, and my daughter. And then just kind of a shot of what mine actually ended up being pretty long, and I added to it. These are some clips from Reg's session with her family and some of the things that she worked on. Again, trying to make sure that people kind of just see kind of what different vision boards can look like. And so we have this posted on our Instagram. I just wanted to share that really quick, because you can kind of see some of the different things that you can do and how fun it was. And so
Mhm.
follow us on Instagram, or it's also on Facebook too, but you can kind of see some of the different options that, or different ideas, I should say, not options, but ideas. And so for me, it was kind of fun. I'm not sure, my family can probably correct me, but I'm not sure if they were kicking and screaming. I did sort of present it to them in December before Christmas. So as you saw from my pictures, you could see our stockings were still hung, because I wanted to give them
Um,
some time to think about it. So I had said, hey, we've got an activity. And plus, over Christmas, you've got an extra day where you're hanging out with the family
mhm.
anyway. So I was thinking, okay, Christmas will kind of start it, and then we finished it like on New Year's Day. That's what it was. And it was kind of perfect
Okay.
because they started it, and at first I don't know if I explained it correctly, because plus it was out of the blue for them. I was like, okay, after church, we're gonna go and get supplies. We're all gonna vision board, and this is what we could do. And they're like, what? Okay, mom. And they're such good sports, the kids as well as my husband. They just went along with it. Nobody even asked a question. We literally walked into the store. We were pulling stuff off. They didn't know what they were doing. I'm like, you probably need some numbers and stickers. And, we're trying to decide what we wanted. And then I explained to them what we were going to do. And I sort of had, how I explain a vision board. And, I think with Reg's, hers was very like there's lots of things that she's visioning, right? Like she said, she
Mhm.
visualizes. Mine, although I know Reg's mind works like this, and I know she probably has another area where she writes goals down. We talk about 90 days, right? We talk about
Yes.
quarters. And so I had taught my family that, hey, by the end of next year, let's set a goal, but then let's set it up into quarters. So as you saw mine,
Mhm.
you could see that mine was definitely columns, right? Because we have different
Mhm.
quarters. And then we didn't write out what we're going to do in quarter 2, quarter 3, or quarter 4, because it depends on what you did in quarter 1. You might have to shift
Um,
and change and reset before quarter 2, right? And so I had taught my family a different way of doing their vision board, and then also what goals mean and how you're going to set goals and how you're going to reach them.
mhm.
And so they thought it was really kind of cool. And having one child in high school and having one in college, and then also my husband, after I kind of showed them what mine looked like, and talked about a word of the year, they got into it just like Reg's family. Like
Mhm.
they were just like all into it, designing it. I love it because I don't think I posted everybody's on our Instagram page, but they were also creative, and it was really about who they were. Like
Mhm.
my husband, I just have to say, my husband, if you guys are Marvel fans, we're a huge Marvel family.
Oh, we are too.
Okay, so if you look at some pictures, or I might have to find, I might see if I can find a picture on his vision board. He literally got a picture of Vision, like Vision, and
Yeah.
he printed it out, stuck it on his thing, and then he printed out a brown board, and that's on the top of his vision board. So it's Vision the character, and then a brown
Yeah.
board, and that's his vision board. And then he used Marvel stickers all the way throughout his his vision board, which I thought was funny, but I loved it though because it's his
Yeah.
own. It doesn't have to look like
Yep.
anybody else's, right? So I
Yeah.
think in the end, it was a lot of fun. When I had posted what we did on social media, there were so many people who either liked the idea and wanted to do it with their family, or they had told me that they had already done it with their family and it's a tradition. And it's one of the
Wow.
best things that they have ever done with their family as a family.
Mhm.
So thank you, Reg, first of all, for the amazing idea. I think that expanding it to my
Oh,
family
you're welcome.
has really kept me up on my goals. So, for example, one of the things that I'm really proud of is in mine, my word of the year is Kaizen, which means like every day just a little bit better, right? And continuous
Mhm.
improvement. And so let's
Mhm.
say for my one of my goals is in health and fitness is I had booked a trip to Spain for a trek. It's a Camino trek. And so I'm going with a bunch of wonderful ladies, but I have to walk 10 to 15 miles a day for about 4 or 5 days in a row. So knowing that that's in September, I then created my goal and then how I'm going to reach that goal by September. And so I am adding a half a mile every 15 days. And so today, yes, before the show, after my daughter's volleyball tournament, I still have my wrist band on. You can't really see it here because we're going back tomorrow. I raced over and got 3 miles in because I needed to.
Oh, good for you.
Because that's what's
Yeah.
on my sheet, and then I can go check it off. So,
Yeah.
it's been really helpful. Accountability with Reg, accountability with our families, and then it's something that's visual that I have certain goals and set reminders, and then I can go in and actually like check it off. Like I'm a check off person, so
Mhm.
I want to make sure that when I'm done, I check something off because it makes me feel good.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not necessarily that checkoff person, but I have surrounded myself with my vision board. I took a picture of it and it's on all of my laptops. It's on my
Mm,
wallpaper in my office computer. It's on my pin board in my office right next to my desk so that I'm just constantly looking at it and reminding myself of what I want to do and reminding myself of who I have to become in order to achieve those things, right? Because
mhm,
there's, I always think of it as levels, like almost like playing a video game. And I'm not a big video game person, but when I was younger, I liked playing video games. And it's still the same today. You're always leveling up, right? And each time you level up, a lot of times you'll get new tools, you'll get new new things to help you on the current level continue to move up to the next level, right? So
mhm,
one of the things that I'm asking myself constantly now when I'm looking at my vision board and looking at my goals, I look at my goals daily because I have to keep it in front of me to know, okay,
mhm,
this is what I intend to do. It's important to me. Why is it important to me? I journal around it. But the big thing that I've been really learning lately is who do I have to become in
mhm,
order to achieve those goals? And, you know, I have to maybe give up some. Usually you have a goal, you've got to sacrifice something. What is it that you're sacrificing in order to achieve that goal? Um, I have to give up bad habits. I have some bad habits that
mhm,
aren't going to support some of the goals that I have. So those have to go bye bye. And then they need to be replaced with the good habits that are
mhm,
needed to support. So I think it's so important for us to constantly think, giving ourselves grace in the process, but still thinking about, okay, who do I have to become in
Mhm.
order to be the person that I'm visualizing. When I visualize my goals, I visualize me. What do I look like when I've achieved that goal? What emotion am I feeling? Because it needs to be so relevant to me. Like I need to attach emotion to it. Like I can just feel it so strongly. Um, and that would be my encouragement to anyone watching this is, think about who do you see yourself as you accomplish those goals, and what do you need to do in order to get there, because that's the person that you're going to have to become this year.
Mhm. So wise. I love it. All right.
So,
So, the last thing that we wanted to kind of talk about real quickly is some of our upcoming plans for 2025. And so, next week is going to be really fun because Reg is actually coming to Colorado. And we had talked about this that we were going to get together at some point and do something fun. And so, number one, let's start off with what is coming up for our book. So, we actually, created a new cover for our book. So same stuff on the inside, but in addition to that, we're going to be releasing a workbook. And so the workbook is really going to be a side by side book that you can write different goals and different. There's so many different things that we're asking you to do as you read through the book chapter by chapter. And so
mhm,
you'll be able to read a chapter and then kind of really work through some of your thoughts that are going on while you're reading, as well as if you haven't ever really thought about different things like core values or words or um, even if you haven't set goals before, there's lots of different things in
mhm,
there that you can actually have this workbook while you're reading our book. So that's definitely one thing that is coming up that we're super excited for. Um, it's actually available on Amazon. If you
mhm,
go to this website that's below, it'll direct you right to the actual new cover of the book as well as the workbook. So you're going to be able to look at that. But yeah, that's going to be available. And then we also have some fun merchandise as well. Same thing. If you head to this website below, you will see some of the fun merchandise that we have. So some fun shirts and totes and books and things like that we've created, so that way it will help you spread the word really on what we have felt that is important to us in really putting this book forth, and the workbook as well.
mhm.
I'm going to see if I can pull that up and maybe show it to you guys. Reg, you can talk a little bit more about that and then maybe talk
Yeah.
about our launch too while I pull this up.
Yeah, I'm super excited for the workbook because we've talked about a workbook for a very long time and we just didn't pull the trigger on it until recently. And the workbook is actually intended to be like an action plan for you. So we take you through each of the chapters, dealing with the various things in each chapter. And then by the time you're done and you go through the entire thing, the hope is that you have this action plan that you can use in taking action. And the other thing that I wanted to really say quickly is we know that sometimes it's hard to take action, but action is so important. One of the things that happens when you take action is it puts you into momentum. And if you think about momentum and something starts to move, especially if you think about it moving downhill and it gets faster and faster and it picks up more momentum. And if you're in business, money loves speed. So the faster that you can take action on things, the more you can bring in income or revenue generating assets into your business. It applies into your personal things as well, but definitely for business owners, really, really important. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah. This is our website here. So you can kind of see that you can Send us your email if you want any news or updates as well. And there's some information about us, but also you can right here either buy the book, which will direct you to that Amazon link, and also shop our merchandise. And so if I click that, you should be able to see some fun things here. So I just wanted to show that real quickly.
Yeah. I think
Fun.
I love the merchandise as well because I don't know about anyone else, but I like wearing t-shirts and a blazer and jeans. And I love having t-shirts that say the things that I would say or the things that I'm thinking. And so we try to put together some things around taking action that are, reminders for us and
Mhm.
hopefully reminders for others as they start to pick up our
There it is.
merchandise.
Yeah. I don't think it was able to pop up before. So yeah, so there it is.
Oh, okay, cool.
Okay, so and then in addition to that, so we'll stop sharing here. I know somebody had popped on, so I'm going to just put up the comment here. So Patty Smith. So thank you for joining, Patty. She looks like she had joined on LinkedIn. She had shared with us that her words for 2025 are intentionality and
Hmm.
focus. So she picks two each year, and she just started her vision board this weekend. So yes, Patty is going to be coming to our launch party. So we're technically, so that's what we haven't talked about yet, is
Yeah.
that we actually have a launch party scheduled for Thursday. So if you are in Colorado, if you are in the Fort Collins or Northern Colorado area, we are actually going to be having this fun time where we get to spend time with people in our community and our friends and family. And we are going to have our merchandise there, our new book covers. Hopefully, our workbooks will be there in time as well. And we're going to have one of our really good friends, Mary Kopenschlag. She's going to be there, and we're going to have a little fireside chat with both Reg and I. We're going to have some fun flight tastings. That's all I'm going to say. So you're going to have to show up. Some fun flight tastings, as well as we're going to hear a story from a real action taker and an entrepreneur and an owner, just to kind of learn about how she has taken action. So we hopefully will see you there. But Patty is from an amazing organization. And so 50% of the proceeds that if we sell our book that night or any merchandise, is going to be going to both advancing the seed as well
Mhm.
as Patty's uh, nonprofit, which is Living Her Legacy. And that is an art project that is taking place here in our own community in Fort Collins. And it is honoring some amazing women that have made impact in our own communities here. And so Patty's going to be there. So we'll get to see her. That's why she says she's going to see us next week. And so that's one of the other things that we are looking forward to in the next week is our big launch. That's why Reg is coming here. But another reason, this is another thing we're sharing. So if you're tuning in or you're watching this, like, you're getting all the details here. But the other reason why Reg is coming into town with her beautiful family is we're finally releasing an audiobook too. So when Reg is in town, we are actually going to be recording an audio version of our book. And so again, another thing to be super excited for, because we're going to get a lot of things done next week together. And when we get to be together, spend time together, but then also put our heads together as well and really
Yeah.
knock things out, because that's what we do. We schedule things, we take action, and this is what we love to do, and get things done. So that's another thing that we're going to be launching in the very near future as well. So stay tuned for the audio version of our book. I know that a lot of people have been
Mhm.
asking for that as well.
Yeah, super exciting that we're finally doing that. I'm a little nervous, I'll admit. The whole audio recording thing just and it's funny because I do a podcast. Well, it's been inconsistent. I plan to do it consistently this year, but um, so I'm used to recording things, but I don't know, an audiobook that's really long and then we've been talking about how we have to kind of go back and forth and how we're going to do that, but it should be fun.
Yep. It's one of those things, though, that I'm like you. I'm nervous, but I'm actually more excited because both of us
Mhm.
have done podcasts. And I think that when I first did my podcast, I got over it quickly because my producer at the time said, "You're not going to like the way your voice sounds because it
Yeah,
sounds different to you.
yeah.
Get over it." And just like
Mhm.
that, I was over it. And I think it was because you said something to me as well on our last meeting, which this is Sunday, so a couple days ago, or maybe it was yesterday. I don't even remember. But you had said something where we were talking about how we're going to do our audiobook. And the one thing that you said was, you literally took the weight off my shoulders because I was like, "Well, what do we do? Are we
Yeah.
supposed to do it like this? Are we supposed to do it like that?" And like, because I like to plan and I like to make sure everything's right and we get everything thought out right. And you just said, "Why do we even have to do it like how everybody else is doing it? Like, we don't have to do it the way everybody else is doing. We'll just do it how we do it." I'm like, "Oh my gosh!" I go, "Yeah, why do we have to do it like that?" So to me, that took the weight off my shoulders, and I thought, oh my goodness, we're going to get it done. And
Yeah,
however it's going to be is however it's going to be. And that's going to
yeah.
just be, something that we get to do. And it's going to come out. It's going to turn out. And so
Mhm.
again, it turned my nervousness into excitement because I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And
Oh,
we're going to
yeah.
get it done anyway. So yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it'll be fun, and, hopefully it'll be a little bit different than just every other audiobook where you're just reading the author is reading the book, and that's it. I'm hoping that we can interject a little bit more and give bonuses in the book.
Mhm.
So if you go out and get the audiobook, then you'll get some additional things that you wouldn't necessarily get in the book, and that part I'm really excited about.
Yeah, me too. Awesome. Thank you, Patty, again. We're so excited to see you. I don't even think Reg has met you before. And so we're going to be excited to see you next week and or actually, it'll be this week now on Thursday. We
Yeah.
can't wait to see you. Yeah.
We've met virtually. We've not met in
Mhm.
person, so we'll get to meet in person. I'm excited to meet you, Patty.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's all we have. We just wanted to pop on, say hello again, and just let you know what we've been up to, what our plans are, as we're really excited. And we have a lot of plans.
Mhm.
But we will be back. Just kind of tune in because we're going to be posting some different updates on our launch party as well as continuing to give you information about what's upcoming so that way we can get you plugged in because we have lots of plans to continue to inspire you and to help you stay accountable to help you take action to reach your
Mhm.
greatest goals and dreams. So with that,
Yeah.
we will be back soon. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Thank you. Bye.